Monday Night Football is kicking off shortly. Drop your questions here in the live chat. We're going to rapid fire through all of your questions, all of your comments. I'm Jo Madden from Betting Pros, and I'm going to be here right until kickoff. You guys, tonight's matchup, the Carolina Panthers taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Now, no real movement in the lines. We're seeing basically 7 or 7.5 across the board for the 49ers being the favorite at home. This total once 45.5 at opening, now all the way up to 49.5. It's going to be interesting to see how these teams come out. If Bryce Young is able to have a strong performance like we saw in his last game out versus the Atlanta Falcons and put up those yards, if he feels comfortable throwing the ball nice and deep like he did in that last game, or if we're going to see the Carolina Panthers be able to play a run game because the San Francisco 49ers don't get up big on them. So there's a lot of different ways to go with this, but again, drop those questions in the live chat. We are here on Betting Pros until kickoff. So I'm going to get into a couple things that I'm liking out there. I want to hear what you're liking as well. Remember, bragging rights are always on the line. And make sure you guys do me a solid, hit that like button. And if you want to see more of this great free content rolling out here on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. So let's get into a couple things that I'm looking at. First, it's got to be CMC for me. Christian McCaffrey coming out here to go over his rushing and receiving prop. Now, this number's high, 119.5, but don't forget that the Carolina Panthers drafted CMC just over 3 years ago, you guys, and shortly traded him away. So he was drafted back in 2017 by them. He has now been with the 49ers ever since they traded him, and he hasn't yet had the opportunity to face his former team. So we're going to see him for the very first time versus his former team. Now, we know there's been lots of great running backs that have been able to come out nice and strong versus their former team that drafted them. And I do think we're going to see that huge performance out of CMC tonight. So I took him over the 119.5 for his rushing and receiving prop, but I also isolated his just receiving prop. We know CMC has really been getting the work through the air. Brock Purdy back in the lineup will be throwing that ball to him. Looking at his receiving prop, I want to make sure no numbers have moved for you guys. It is coming in currently at 47.5. It's a solid number, you guys. It has moved a little bit. There was a 46.5 out there earlier, but I do think he's going to get that work through the air. So let me know in the live chat what you're like, and let me know if you have any questions for any of these players in this game. We're here over here on Betting Pros to break everything down for this Monday Night Football game. So first and foremost, it's CMC for his rushing and receiving over the 119.5, and then isolating that receiving prop over the 47.5. Now, if you want him to score that anytime tutty, the books absolutely do as well, you guys. His anytime touchdown way too highly juiced at minus 300, and I don't think I would take him for the 2+ touchdowns. Let me know if you're brave enough to take him for 2+. We know he has every ability to get there with the 2+ touchdowns, but at plus 150, not enough value. So that's all I'm going to do with CMC. But I am also thinking George Kittle goes absolutely off in this game. The tight ends have been cashing for us all season long, you guys. So I had to isolate George Kittle out here. We look at him in the last game with Brock Purdy back. Brock Purdy always looks for Kittle. He had those receptions. He was able to get 2 touchdowns on the board. Tonight, his receiving prop, 4.5. It is juiced, you guys. Over 4.5 receptions here for Kittle coming in at minus 152. So it's not a place I want to go. And actually, we're seeing the juice start to drop on some of these books. So let me know what you think of George Kittle. But I am taking him over the 4.5, but I laddered it. So I took him over 4.5 at the minus 150 for a third of a unit, but then I put the other 2/3 of a unit on the alt lines. So I took him for his receiving total receptions. Let me just pull it up because I did take the 6.5, and I just want to make sure I'm giving you current numbers now as we go over this if you want to jump in on those receptions. So the alt receptions for George Kittle, I took him for 6+ receptions and 7+ receptions. Now, we know George Kittle in these last couple of games has been able to get those receptions on the board, and I love Brock Purdy getting him that ball. So the 6+ receptions, that's taking you from a -140 for the over 4.5 to a +140 for the 6+. And then if you look for the 7+ receptions, that's coming in at +255. So I think George Kittle has every ability. If you disagree with me, let me know why you think George Kittle won't be utilized in this game. But looking at Kittle on the season, he has been able to come out nice and strong in that receiving market. And we know the Carolina Panthers, they are weak against that tight end position. They are giving up the yards straight up the middle. So you want to look at George Kittle tonight. So we're looking at him 27 receptions on 30 targets this season for 251 yards. He's averaging 9.3 yards per carry, you guys. And he has 5 touchdowns on the season. So his longest being a 30-yard reception out there. And I do think this is going to be one of those games where he gets worked. Now, let me know your thoughts on him. Again, I'm Jo Madden. This is BettingPros. We are live here on a Monday night with your countdown to kickoff, answering all of your questions on YouTube, where you're wanting to know where you should look for some of these players. So those are the first 2 bets that I love out there. I do think there's a couple opportunities to play here on different bets. So looking at the Carolina Panthers and the San Francisco 49ers, looking at that spread, hands up if you took the 49ers. I did. I took the 49ers. I got the 7. Now we're starting to see the lines bouncing around as money's coming in late on this game. The 7.5 for the 49ers has light juice on it at -105. You are looking at a 7 at -120. Solid way to go. I like the 7. I will rather lay the -120 than take the 7.5 at -105. I also think this could be a great live betting situation, you guys. I love the live bets. And if you see Carolina come into this game, be able to get possession of that ball first and drive down the field, get that touchdown on the board, you're then going to take the 49ers, and hopefully they drop to a 4.5-point favorite instead of the 7.5-point favorite that the majority of the books are laying. Now, if you wait and you do that, you risk the fact that the 49ers will come out here first and be able to put those points up on the board. And then you're going to miss the best of the number for the San Francisco 49ers. So we're going to see how it plays out. I would lay the 7 coming into this game. That total of 49.5. If the San Francisco 49ers get up big, we're going to see Carolina have to throw that ball. Now, there's the opportunity of the pick 6 in this one. We know Bryce Young has been turning over that ball. It is a light juice on the interception for Bryce Young. It's coming in at -118. And I think it is another way that you can take this. But I do think Bryce Young is going to have to throw the ball in this game. We're looking at him coming off such a solid game in his last one out. You look at Bryce Young in that last game, and I'm just going to pull up his stats for you guys. He had such a big day with his arms. So he has 1,962 passing yards on the season. And I know it's hard to have that faith in Bryce Young. I hear a lot of people saying it's kind of a disrespectful line out here that the Carolina Panthers are such a big underdog, but it comes down to which Bryce Young, which offense are we going to see out of the Panthers in this game, because it's been a mixed bag. We saw him in that last game versus the Atlanta Falcons, you guys. 31 completions on 45 attempts and a whopping 448 passing yards. His completion percentage in that game was a 68.9%, and he threw 3 touchdowns. Are we going to see that Bryce Young? Or are we going to see the Bryce Young that came out versus the Green Bay Packers and, yeah, still got the win, but he only threw for 102 yards. Now, there's also the Bryce Young versus the Saints, and we know the Saints defense and their struggles out there. He only threw for 124 yards. So you never know what you're going to get out of Bryce Young, and that's where my struggles come with really backing him and backing the Carolina Panthers in this game. Now, one player that has been having success is Rico Dowdle, and even if the Panthers are down by 2 scores, I think he's going to get that workload on the ground. So I'm going to look at him. I'm going to look at his props here. John, I'm seeing your comment here. You took Kittle for 40 plus, Young over 206. I like where you're going, John Williams. I think it's a nice way to look at George Kittle. I love Kittle to go off in this game. I think he's in for a big one. I would look at a ladder as well. Don't deny him the ladder. I think he's in for a big day. And then Bryce Young over the 206. So Bryce Young currently, I'm seeing his passing prop at 209.5. You did get the best of the number at 206. So love that you got in on that. I'm not afraid of Bryce Young to go over the 209.5. I do think he has to be slinging that ball, even though he's going to use Rico Dowdle in this game. When we look at him for his longest pass completion, I think it's another solid way to go with him, because we look at the 49ers and their defense has been exposed for those long, deep passes. The long, deep passes are something Brock Purdy, Bryce Young was really able to do in that last game versus the Atlanta Falcons. So if we're looking at who he's going to get that ball to, looking at those longest receptions, who is going to get it, you look at McMillan out here. McMillan has every opportunity to break free and get a couple of deep passes from Brock Purdy. So his longest reception, another way, I think is really solid to go in this game, you guys. That longest reception for McMillan, it seems too light. It's actually gone up a point in the last 10 minutes here. I was just talking about this within the last 30. So it was 23.5. It's now at 24.5. But I do think McMillan can come out strong and get that longest reception over 24.5 yards. It's coming in at -110. You got to think the game plan is going to be there, though, where the 49ers can get up in this one, force Bryce Young to have to throw that ball. As long as we see them forcing Bryce Young to throw that ball, I think McMillan will be his prime target out there to get that long, deep pass. Now, I do think Bryce Young, it's nice to look at that passing prop to the over as well. But because he's going to be throwing the ball, because he's going to be put under that pressure, I can't deny the interception at -118. I also, when you start talking about that and you think the 49ers defense can come out strong, how many pick sixes did we see this weekend, right? Those pick sixes, they're probably my favorite bets to play. I love the defensive props. When I'm thinking a quarterback like Bryce Young will throw those interceptions, you guys, I gotta look at the defensive touchdown there for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, sometimes we get this, so plus 700. We are getting it in this one at plus 800 for the 49ers defense, and that has climbed. We were seeing that right around that plus 500 mark before, so we're actually getting better value on the 49ers to get that pick six, get that defensive touchdown. Now, plus 800, I definitely think is a solid way to go. But you guys, drop in the comments here over on YouTube what you're liking. Let me know if you have any questions. We're here till we kick off this Monday night football game. Of course, the Carolina Panthers take it on the San Francisco 49ers. Again, I'm Jo Madden over here on BettingPros. I'm so excited to be here with you. And if you do me a solid, hit that like button. And also hit the subscribe button over here on YouTube so that you do know, and the notification button, so you do know when all of this free, great content is dropping here on BettingPros. It's a lot of fun, you guys, and you definitely don't want to miss out on these free bets coming in. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on CMC as well. Do you think this is a revenge game for him? Because I 100% believe that you look at these guys that were drafted by teams and traded away so quick, not given that opportunity to show them what he has. And it's CMC. We know CMC is so phenomenally strong out there. I do think that revenge angle comes into play tonight. And that's one of the reasons why I did fire up CMC tonight. But I also fired up George Kittle because I think George Kittle is going to come out outstanding in this game, get those looks from Brock Purdy. It's going to be a good one, you guys. But again, if you're liking this content, make sure you do hit that like button and hit that subscribe button over here on YouTube. It really helps us out. It also helps get this video out to more people so more people can jump on these bets with us. So that's where I'm going. I promise you I'd talk about Rico Dowdle. So Rico Dowdle coming out here. We're going to look at the Carolina Panthers using him on the ground, even if they're down by 2 scores. If they're down by 3, this is where this prop starts to get into trouble with Rico Dowdle. I do think Rico Dowdle has the ability to get in the end zone, but so do the books. He's the odds-on favorite for the Carolina Panthers for that touchdown. I can't bet it at -130. it is out of the question, you guys. But if you look at him for his rushing props, I know at 75.5, it seems like a lot, but I do think he has the ability to go over the 75.5 rushing yards in this game. Rico Dowdle coming in nice and strong off a great performance last week. When we look at his numbers, when we look at what he was able to do last week out there on the ground, he's coming off a game in which he faced the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, he was able to put up 45 rushing yards. And I know that's under this number, but it was on 19 carries. He looks strong out there. We did see him a couple of weeks ago in that game versus the Green Bay Packers go over 100. He had 130 rushing yards in that game, you guys. So definitely the opportunity for him to get that workload. I think because of last week's game where we saw that number drop, that what he was able to do on the ground, as well as versus the New Orleans Saints, we're getting a better number at 75.5. Would I be shocked if Rico Dowdle hit 100 rushing yards? Not at all. Would I be shocked if CMC hit 150 rushing and receiving? Not at all. I do think these are the two playmakers you're going to be looking at to get the work on the ground, and then CMC for those receiving props as well as George Kittle out there. So you guys, we're going to go. I'm firing away with those players. I'm also going to fire away here with the anytime touchdown of Brian Robinson Jr. And yes, he's a backup here for the San Francisco 49ers. He steps in behind CMC. He has the opportunity to get us the anytime tutty. You guys, this game is kicking off right now, so I'm just going to give you this touchdown prop and then send you on your way. The anytime touchdown for Brian Robinson Jr. at plus 370. It was plus 440. It's going to be an opportunity, especially in that fourth quarter, if we do see CMC go out of this game because the 49ers are up big. And I do think Brian Robinson Jr. with 8 carries in the last game has every opportunity to get it. So Dowdle over 2.5 receiving, 80 plus rushing and receiving should be easy money. I agree, John. I definitely think that is a great way to go in this game. You guys watch those live numbers as well. If we see the Carolina Panthers go up in this one, they're going to look to use Dowdle even more in the game as they try to extend their lead, run the clock, and keep the 49ers off the field. But that is it for me. I appreciate you guys so very much for joining me here on Betting Pros to go over this Monday night football game. I'll be back next Monday night, so make sure you hit the notification bell. Hit the subscribe button, you guys, over here on YouTube, and make sure you give me a like. It really does help out with everything. And if you're looking to track your bets live during the game, download the Betting Pros app and use the Sportsbook Sync to track all your bets in real time. It's a great way to go, you guys. But thank you so much for joining me here tonight. Again, I'll see you next Monday. Until then, stay hot. And you guys, let's make some freaking money. We'll see you next week.